Oregon State Beaver head coach, Gary Andersen. Coach Andersen, welcome to J More Sports, my friend.
Well, thanks for having us on. I appreciate it.
How strange is it? Has it sunk in yet when I introduce you as Oregon State Beaver head coach? Is it hit the ear funny still?
Well, when I've called as many recruits as I've called the last few days, it's rolling out of my mouth pretty simple. Sounds pretty good to me.
Gary Andersen, I got to think when you're calling those recruits, as you just said, they got to be pretty fired up that a guy that just coached Wisconsin for a while in the Big Ten, you're a man that has some weight, some merit, some gravitas. That's got to be pretty exciting for these recruits that you call.
Well, I guess you'd have to ask them that. It's fun to get on the phone with them, and you get in these situations, and to be able to talk to the recruits, a lot of them already committed, and you kind of, every phone call you're making right now is almost like it's a home visit, so you want to cover so much information. Same way with the kids in the program. When you get a meeting, you'd like to just spend an hour with them, but those are fun phone calls to make and kind of let the kids understand exactly where they sit, and they know Oregon State. They know it very well. The challenge is to let them understand who I am as a coach and kind of who we are as a staff.
Coach Andersen, it has to be asked, and I'll just ask you, why on earth, when you left Wisconsin, we were all scratching our heads. Why did you leave Wisconsin?
Been asked that one a few times in the last few days. When it all comes out in the wash, for me, is I really truly believe that I'm going where I think I'm told to go, and this situation was easy for me. And Oregon State was a place that I had recruited against for many years and competed against, and I had tremendous respect for this program. When Coach Riley all of a sudden was up and going to Nebraska, I instantly kind of got me thinking and got me wondering exactly what was going to go on, and that was a place that I always thought, man, that's a great fit for myself, my family, the type of young men that are in that program. And I was at a great place in Wisconsin, but for me, my family, felt like we should at least look into it. And then once I started looking into it, it was, again, I believe I get told where to go, and here we sit and couldn't be more happy. Coach
Gary Andersen of Oregon State joining me on J More Sports. You brought up that magic word. It's the panacea. It's the magic wand, and that word of my friend is family. I know you're a Salt Lake City guy. Idaho State, Park City High School, for crying out loud. Utah D-line defensive coordinator. Utah State. Was just simple geography one of the main reasons?
Not really. My kids are grown up now. I've got 3 boys, and a couple of them are finishing up at Utah State, going to college there, and Keegan's my oldest boy is starting his coaching profession, so didn't really have anything to do with it. Our kids are all settled and going in the direction. I just felt like it was to get into this situation again, like I explained earlier. Those were really the true factors, but coming back to the West Coast was not a factor.
All right, fair enough, and thank you for answering candidly. My brother Gary Andersen, Oregon State Beaver head coach, joining me on J More Sports. Melvin Gordon, your guy, just one of the best running backs we've seen in a long time. With the new gig, as you're the brand new Oregon State head coach, obviously you got a lot of work to do. You were not able to make the Heisman ceremony. That had to tug at your heart a little, my man.
I would have loved to have been there with Melvin, and Melvin knows that. The key there is Melvin did it. Melvin got himself there, and the young men that I really wish could have gone there with him would have been his offensive line. I think that would have been fantastic, and I think Melvin would rather have had his offensive line there than any coaches or anybody else with him. So he's a tremendous kid, deserves everything that he's getting, and I'm proud of him, and I'm so proud of the rest of that offense and the opportunities that they gave Melvin. He's a big-time player, and he's just as, if not as good or better of a person than he is a football player.
Gary Andersen, you played center at Ricks College, and you were such a great football player. When you left, they had to change the name of the entire university. That is now...
I like that. I might use that. That's a good one. I like that.
It's BYU Idaho now?
Yes, sir.
It's Brigham Young University, Idaho. But when you played center, it was Ricks College. How good a center were you, Coach Andersen?
Well, that was 16-millimeter days back then on the film, so I'm going to go with pretty darn good because no one can find that film. So I was a pretty good center.
How much did you weigh when you played center at Ricks College? What was your operating weight there?
Probably about 265, 270 when I was there, and then my last year at Utah, I was about 290. So that was a long time ago, about 70 pounds now.
Yeah, no kidding. You slimmed down. I know you got a degree in political science. If you were president for one day, what would be the first thing you would do?
president for one day, what is the first thing I would do?
Yeah. Here's the Oval Office. Do whatever you want.
I would put. I don't know how much money it could be, but I would put as much money as I possibly could into our education systems.
Yeah, you mean like LA Unified? We're in LA now. LA Unified could sure use that.
Yeah, I would. Wherever it could be, to get into all the high schools, the elementary schools, and the junior highs of public education. That's where I would put as much money as I possibly could, and I would pay teachers and make sure that they were held accountable to do a great job with the pay that they had.
Circling back to your man, Mr. Gordon, Melvin Gordon, who took second place in the Heisman Trophy. His NCAA single rushing record was broke 6 days after he said it. That would have been a spur in my rear end if that was me. Did he laugh it off, or was he like, man, maybe I should have not taken a couple plays off in the fourth quarter?
Well, we talked about it, and I said when I saw that happen next week, I looked at Melvin. I said, Melvin, maybe I should have left you in there, but if he sat in there and all of a sudden something bad happened to him, we never would have forgiven ourselves. And he would love to have had it for a long time, but you know what? He had it. It was a special, special evening for him and his whole team. And as coaches, we were lucky to be part of that evening against Nebraska. It was in Camp Randall. It was unbelievable. A little bit of snow, a night second half. It was a special experience. He had it. He's always going to have that memory, and he's in pretty elite company.
My man Gary Andersen, Oregon State Beaver head coach on J Moore Sports right now. I'll let you go. You got your work cut out for you. You got Mark Helfrich up there with those Oregon Ducks. You better get like a full family plan on that cell phone, brother.
Yeah, we'll make the calls. We're excited about the opportunity, and congratulations to Oregon on the tremendous year that they've had, and Marcus for his accomplishments with the Heisman. And it's a great university. There's a couple great universities in the state, and we're looking forward to competing and moving into the future. All
right, brother. Gary Andersen, thank you very much for coming aboard. I know you're very busy right now, and I appreciate your time, sir.
No problem. Thank you. Go Beavs.
Yeah, go Beavs. There he goes on the Progressive Insurance Celebrity Hotline.
Big news in college football last week when Gary Andersen surprised everybody, leaving Wisconsin to take the job in Corvallis and go up to Oregon State, see what he could do there.
He told Melvin Gordon said he had no idea. When he was on the set, he said, I had no idea Coach Andersen was leaving. I said, come on, Melvin.
Well, how about this? How about this? During the press conference, Coach is answering questions. He said, well, I got to get my ducks in a row. Well, when you're the Beavers coach, you can't. So he said,
you're already taking shots at them Ducks, huh?
Absolutely.
That's some good eating, Coach.
Had a little enjoyment there. Coach, we congratulate you. How are you?
I'm good. Not taking no shots. That was just lay of the land, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, there you go. Right. It's just a funny thing that happened, and it's just a funny way to start it. And obviously, you were welcome there anywhere. Anyway, let me ask you about Wisconsin and get that to the side. I mean, look, people have internal issues when they work, and sometimes they want to share them, and sometimes they don't. But it did shock the college football world. You've gotten a sense of that since you made the decision. How tough was it for you to decide, sight unseen, by the way, to take the Oregon State job?
Well, it wasn't difficult at all to decide that I was going to come to Oregon State, and it was always a decision that's kind of made between really myself and Stacy, my wife. Now my boys are grown and old and in college and taking care of their own business, but sight unseen, yes, as far as knowing exactly what the landscape was and knowing a whole bunch about, what the weight room looked like or whatever it was. But I knew from a distance and the respect and recruiting that I've gained for Oregon State over the years and the young men that have come here competing against them a couple times as a coach, I had a pretty good idea. And, so past that, it was always a job where I thought that what a fantastic opportunity it would be. It's in a great spot. It's the kind of town that I absolutely love. And so when the opportunity presented itself, I was excited. And the more I learned about it, it became very apparent that this is where I was supposed to be.
Coach, was this more about you and the missus there wanting to get back close to where you've coached the majority of your career than Wisconsin? Because, we look at that as a destination job, and apparently it wasn't for you. So was there more into this as far as you leaving Madison and heading there to Corvallis?
It didn't really have anything to do with getting closer to home. My kids are all grown up, and My brothers would probably think it sometimes it'd be a little easier to get to over here to come to a game than it would be to get to Madison. But again, it was. I've gone through this a couple times in my life, not a whole bunch of times, and but when I have gone through it, it's been a situation where I try to just educate myself on the scenario, and then I believe that my beliefs are that I get a feel and I get told where I'm supposed to be, and that's really all there is to it at the end. And again, I said it in the press conference. A lot of people think that's quirky or funny or whatever it's going to be, or just a cliche, but that is the true facts. That's how I've always believed. That's how my dad raised me and my mom raised me to make decisions, and that's how I go about it.
Speaking with Gary Andersen, the new head football coach at Oregon State. Coach, how do you get Oregon State past the Ducks? Well, that's a faux pas on my part, isn't it? Oregon State, the Beavers past the Ducks, and how do you win that Pac-12 South? You know the lay of the land there, having coached at Utah and Utah State, being the head man there. That's some fertile recruiting ground. How do you get your fair share and get the Beavers ahead of the Ducks?
Well, the biggest thing is to make sure that you understand that it's a process, and I have true respect for Oregon and what they've done, and it's an elite program, and what they did this last year on the football field and done in the past, and Marcus winning a tremendous award with the Heisman. All that comes with it is fantastic. Rivalries are awesome. It's a big part of college football. I was fortunate to grow up in a great rivalry with Utah BYU. So the first thing you do is you definitely respect your opponents. You respect the rivalry. You prepare yourself, and it's a great moment. It's a great 3.5 hours or 3 hours and 10 minutes, however long that game's going to last, that you get to play. And you've got to put yourself in a position to make it be an important game. And that a lot of that takes place throughout the year. It's a big game, but we've got to worry about our first quarter for us in our training is the off season, January until we get to spring ball. Then quarter 2 spring ball, quarter 3 is our summer conditioning, and then quarter 4 is the season. And so away we go. We've got to get to the first quarter in preparation of every game that we've got to play. But I have tremendous respect for rivalry games. I think they're a big, big part of college football, and obviously we're right in one of the best, if not the best in the country.
New Oregon State coach Gary Andersen joining us here on CBS Sports Radio. Chris Moore, Brian Jones. Coach, perception labels get put on in news and sports all the time. It's kind of how we make sense of things, even when sometimes they're not true. But I'm wondering what your thoughts are recruiting the Pac-12 versus recruiting in the Big Ten. Is there an appreciable difference, or are you just looking for the best kids and it really doesn't change that much?
I can't say that it's going to change that much. You're going to go out and recruit the best kids that you can get in the Big Ten. We recruit at the highest level. In the Pac-12, you're recruiting at the highest level. You're going to recruit throughout the country. And both those conferences have an opportunity to be able to do that. And it's highly competitive. I think it's still in recruiting. It goes back to relationships. It doesn't matter what the Internet's brought to us. It doesn't matter what scouting services have brought to us, what 7-on-7 leagues have brought to us, so on and so forth. I believe we still have to evaluate young men the way we evaluate them. We have our own process. We respect the process that we all go through, and it's imperative that we follow that process. But the ability to recruit at this level, this is as big as it gets in college football in the Pac-12, and you better bring your A game every week in recruiting, just like you better on the field if you're going to compete at the highest level. And at the end of the day, players make plays, players win games. Coaching is way overrated. We're here to take care of kids, build a scheme that puts the best players on the field, and let those young men go out and win games because it's their time to play. Coaches, if they had their choice, they'd probably still be playing. I hope they would. So it's great to be in this situation, but you got to recruit. It's a relationship business in recruiting that'll never leave. It's all about the relationships that you can build, and there's no easy way to get around it. And we're going to work our best to get the best kids in here we can and make sure they're a proper fit for Oregon State University.
Coach, let's look backwards. What attracted you to Wisconsin, and how would you sum up your brief career there?
Well, Wisconsin was a tremendous opportunity. It was a great, we were able to be around some terrific young men and have some success at Utah State. Excuse me. I've been talking to a lot of recruits on the phone. I'm losing my voice.
I understand.
It's all right. You're allowed.
You're supposed to be used to that. Come on.
Yeah, it's hard to make up a year of recruiting in about half-hour phone call sometimes with about 20 kids. So, but you looked at Wisconsin, and I have a tremendous respect and a genuine love for Barry Alvarez and the opportunities that he gave me, and it was a national program, just as like we're in right here at Oregon State, and it was a great spot for us. We had some tremendous success with some great young men. won a lot of football games, but it was intriguing to me because it was, the best of the best, just exactly for the same reason Oregon State was intriguing to me. And I want to coach at the highest level and be surrounded by young men. And I was fortunate to be able to do that at Wisconsin. And I feel the exact same way about Oregon State. And again, it goes back to where I believe I'm supposed to be. And I'm sitting in the office exactly where I think I'm supposed to be.
I hear you. Melvin Gordon, we had him on the set here in New York on our College Football Today show on CBS Saturday. Really a bright young man. He was a lot of fun. When did you know that you had something special on your hands and you had a back that could run for 2,000 yards?
I don't know if I thought he could run for 2,000 yards, but the second he walked in the weight room, I was like, yep, that's exactly how they're supposed to look. There was no question about that. And then as you got to know Melvin, I'll always remember Melvin for the fantastic effort he gave to his team every single week and unbelievable ability that he had. But I'll remember Melvin the most for the leadership that he gave our football team last year with a very young team and his ability to be a mentor of the youth in the program. He set by example by the way he studied, by the way he carried himself off the field socially, and then also what he did on the on the football field week in and week out. Everything Melvin's got, he deserves it, and there's a whole lot there for him to go out and get.
How will you decide what kind of offense to run at Oregon State? I know that you lost your quarterback. He's going to graduate. You got 9 new starters defensively, or at least 9, because you're the new coach, so you'll be deciding who starts to begin with. But you lost 9, let's put it that way. So tell us a little bit about what the challenge is and how you decide when you come into a program what kind of offense you want to run.
Well, we want to be able to. We're in a very high-powered offensive league without question, so you've got to be careful. We want to open it up a little bit, but ultimately, you're looking and walk into a program, and you want to take the best young men at each position, have a core offense, a core defense, and then be able to get your playmakers on the field on offense, defense, and special teams, and that's exactly what we do. But we do want to open up the offense a little bit. We want to have a quarterback that can change the game. I'm a defensive guy, and the ability for a quarterback to hurt you with his arms and his leg and his mind is so very important. He's got to be able to have all 3 of those attributes today in college football to really cause the problems that you need to cause to be a highly effective team. So we'll look to do that on the offensive side of the ball, open it up a little bit, and we'll see how it goes. The quarterback run game will be part of what we do, and I think that's imperative. Especially in this league where there's such high-powered offenses. Defenses, we've been very successful the last few years with, again, it starts with the young men that are out there doing it, but we'll try to give them a scheme that we've used that's similar. We're an odd front team. Everybody says we're a straight odd front team. That's not true. We're about 60%. Excuse me, guys.
No problem.
About 60% odd. And about 40% an even-based package and a very aggressive defense. And we'll continue down those roads and then play solid special teams that, again, we want to be aggressive in every phase of the game.
You have a gallon of water on that desk of yours? Because if you're going to do recruiting and radio, you're going to need a lot more hydrogen and oxygen mixed together.
Some throat lozenges. I got my water with me. I've gone through a bottle since we've been on the phone call here, so I'm scrambling a little bit.
Well, we're going to let you go, Coach, because you need to be talking more to those recruits than to us, and appreciate you joining us, and good luck. We know you'll be successful. You have everywhere you've been, and look forward to watching you down the road.
I appreciate it, guys, very much. Thanks for having us on.
All right, there you go. Be good, Gary. Gary Andersen, new head coach at Oregon State. Didn't get into the Wisconsin very much, and I don't blame him. There's not much to be said.
No, water under the bridge. It'll come out when it's supposed to come out.
You know what? It doesn't have to come out.
Right.
It doesn't all have to come out. It doesn't.
But it will.
People want it to all the time.
But it will.
Well,
when they want it right now, and it will. Same that happened with Brett Bielema. It'll come out.
Yeah.
It'll be unearthed, and you go from there. Whatever.
Yeah.
And as he said, he's at peace with the move. So it's something that was on his heart, and he felt comfortable doing it because I would think Wisconsin is a destination job. You land there, man, you're going to have the resources, I would think. But Brett Bielema left, and he wanted more pay for his coaches, couldn't get it. This is what the job offers. Take it or leave it. But you're going to be in a big conference. You're going to be on television a ton, and you've got a great fan base. You're in a great city, college town, Madison. So that's it. It's a good spot to land.
I lived there 4 years, and it's a great place to live. I mean, it's a great middle place, meaning that you get the big concerts, you get everybody coming because it's big enough to sell tickets to everybody, and so you got all the major stuff, you got major facilities, and yet it's small enough where you have neighborhoods and you feel good about it and you don't have to drive forever to get anywhere or any of that stuff. So it has a lot of quality. It's got 3 lakes in town. It's a great spot that people...
And it's cold as hell.
Yeah, well, it can be. I mean, it can be, but they have great summers as well. I don't know. It's weird. And now you go to Corvallis. That is definitely the small town feel.
Been there once.
And
sure it's changed a lot.
I imagine that... it's a different world. And as I said, he took the job without visiting. Took the job on the phone.
Yeah, I'll come. I got you. Come on.
So
I'll take it.
So there is a story there. Whether we ever hear it or not, I don't know. But you take a job on a phone like that, you're ready to leave.
Yeah.
And he was ready to leave. Whether he wants to discuss the details as to why or not, he was ready to leave. 855-212-4CBS.